Hi everyone, welcome to tutorial 3. Today we're going to be doing icons, state, passing events through from components. So if you've got a subcomponent, maybe a button in there, how to pass that event up the hierarchy of components. And lastly, global state by using Zustand. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Say we wanted to add a home icon up there. Let's go to React Icons. It's quite nice. They've got a bundle of a whole lot of different font packs. So you've got like Font Awesome and Hero icons. What I tend to do is just search up here, and then you find something that looks nice to you. I quite like this one down here, TB Home 2. Let's see. I think we have to add it first, so we don't have React icons in here yet. To add that, we're just going to be adding that package. And because we're using pnpm, the syntax for that is pnpm add. I hope that's large enough down there, so you can see pnpm add. And it's the React icons. Okay. Search for home again. TB home. Cool. So we want to add that into our navbar. So here, TB home 2. And we're going to be importing that. React icons /db. And there it is. So to get these to be next to each other, we have to add a flex row. Let's add a gap. And so it's more visible. Let's do a sky 200. Maybe it's already sky. Yeah, it is. Let's do 100. Padding. It's also a nice one called transition, which adds a slight animation. So you can see it's got a transition duration. Okay. You can also set the size on the icons like this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can go ahead and add the icons for the other buttons. Just wanted to show you how to add that. Just to reiterate, you use the name underneath the icon, and the first two characters is the collection, so you'll import it from the collection. Maybe I should quickly do one more so you can see. Let's do a document. This one is quite nice. Just going to copy those to that. Now we've got two. Can also set this one a little bit smaller. Okay, so that covers icons. The next thing I want to do is state. So say you have a component where, depending on what the user does, you might want to display different things, right? So let's create a new one in here. and let's call it state demo.tsx. Add that to the main page. Control dot to do the import. Nice and quick that way. Some padding. Okay, so in here I want to, let's add 2 buttons quickly. Yeah, this way. So this would be like state A, state B, maybe let's just see. Okay, we'll use view state, and let's call this state A. Let's type it as well. Just import the useState, and I'm going to say this can be 3 different states. This can be anything, right? It could be something like, say, default and overview and say edit, right? We'll add onClick to useState set, and this will go back to the default view. Edit. Let's just show the current state we're in. Okay, so these are buttons, even though they don't look like it. Let's quickly take the style from these. Okay, so we've got default view, overview, edit. Sorry, that's my phone. Okay, so we've got back, overview, and edit. And this doesn't change your route. This is like another way to do it without having to change the routing. Very useful if you've got like navigation bars or buttons or modals that you want to be able to use on every page, no matter what currently the route is. Otherwise it gets very complicated, right? If you have to keep track of what's being viewed in the URL. Okay, so now at the moment we're just displaying what the state is. Say you wanted to display different things depending on what's being viewed. There's a few ways to do it, but what I like to do is you can do default and div or any component in here, right? So this is like viewing default. just do the same for the others. So overview, edit, and there you go. You see these toggle as well. Just a very simple one. Next one is, say this was a different file or component, and there's a button there that you want to be able to change the state in this component. So what we'll have to do, so let's make another one, and let's call it, this is the, say, edit component. And in here we've got a button called back, and we'll have to add a property. So on back, it's just a function. So when the back button is clicked, we call that on back. And instead of this one here, let's use our new edit component, import it, and we add the on back. So let's just verify that it's working. If we view there we go. So if we click back, it's displaying in the console. I should really show you guys how to do the default styling for components. I promise I'll do that in the next video. Okay, it's not very pretty, but there's our back button. So if we view like the default page, we go to edit, have a form or whatever, and click back. That will trigger this, and in here we can say view state set back to the default. Boom. Okay, so that covers state and passing events through components, like up the chain. Now, sometimes your application can become quite complicated, and it's like a whole chain of components, say, you know, like 5-10 layers deep, and somewhere in there you want to have something affect another component. It can become quite complicated and not very elegant to have to pass these events up and back into, say, this one had another event like that, and we call that one, and then in here we might be listening to it as well. So to solve that problem, I recommend Zustand. It's a very nice library. So I'm going to just quickly explain what's happening here. So we'll add the Zustand library or dependency, import this create function, and that will create a hook for us that we can use, very similar to useState. And in there it can keep track of multiple things. In here at the moment in this example, it's only keeping track of count, and it has this increase function. So onClick, they're running the inc function, so we click that. It takes the current count, adds one to it, and that's being displayed there. Cool. Let's Let's do this, but we're going to use the example for TypeScript. So I'm looking for the documentation. And they've got something here for TypeScript. There it is. Okay, let's make a new folder. Call it hooks. And we'll do useAppState.tsx. Just paste that example in there. And let's add Zustand. Okay. Do like a space and a backwards. Space backspace, so it just forces TypeScript to reload the node modules. Okay, so from the example they use this thing called bare state, and let's rename that to our demo app state. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, so we're going to be adding another one in here, which is quite a cool little workaround. So what this is going to allow us to do is be able to set any of the sub-components directly without having to make a direct function to do it. So I'm going to be replacing the increase and just export set directly from there. You have to export this one so you can import it from the other file, and let's give it a try. Okay, let's make another component. Okay, so we've got our Zustand demo. Just rename that one. It's app state, import it from hooks. Now in here, display app state dot, and you see we've got that bears, and if we want to we can add another property in here. Say for instance username, and initialize it with something. So blank. Let's display the app state dot username as well here. Okay, so we're going to be displaying it. Actually, I want it to be an input, so let's do that. So on change app state dot, and we'll use the set. Username will be e.target.value. Okay, so this is our box where we can type it in, and say as we type it in here we wanted to have the username for whatever reason, display in the nav bar. So we'll just be using the same app state. Go to our nav bar, and we can just add that same one, import it, and next to about, let's display it, appstate.username. Now, as the user types it in, you see it's synchronized. Isn't that magic? I think that's it for now. Cheers.